Hi everybody. So I'm stuck in a cabin in the Alps and it's minus 10 Celsius outside. How has it come to this? I think we need a little recap. Let's go. So as you may have noticed, the last vlogs were done some time ago, basically from May to October 2021. But I uploaded the last one last week. That's because on Playdate, the network didn't want any kind of promotion until a month before the movie came out. Every network has their own strategies, which is totally understandable. Not everyone thinks that having the director vlog about a project as it's being made can be a marketing asset. Anyway, for what I'm working on right now, things have changed. And as of next week, I will be putting online weekly shooting vlogs. Although the shoot has started about 3 months ago, and I can tell you, it's been a crazy one. This is the first time in my life I have accepted a project that I didn't originate it. It has taught me a lot, and not always willingly. So here are 10 questions I really think you should ask yourself before you accept or turn down a project. This first question means for you to be humble. Why you? Why would a producer or a network call you? Is it because they like your previous work? So maybe they want you to do the exact same thing but slightly different? Is it because of your reputation? Maybe the word is going around that you can do great stuff with tiny budgets, or that you're the nicest and easiest person around. Is it because you're the flavor of the moment? Maybe your last show was a hit, or you won some prizes, so everybody wants your signature on what they do. You need to be extremely lucid about where your career's at when a project comes your way, because it will determine the leverage you can have on a production and the freedom that will be yours in the decision-making process. For example, on what I'm working right now, I was told I was hired because of Trauma, the detective story series I shot in 2019 that won the prize for Best French Cop Show of 2020. So on my new project, they wanted the same thing, but less violent. But as the prep and production were moving forward, I started hearing things like, "Oh, you've never worked with such a big network. Nah, you can't do that." Or things like, "The characters can't say that. Trust us. We've been here before. You haven't. Blah, 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 blah." And after 3 months of that, it seems clear that I was hired more because I had never worked with this network than because of the quality of my work. The producer thought I would be easier to manipulate because I'd be impressed. Unfortunately, I have worked for this network for about 10 years, but more than that, the network is not really the director's problem anyway. So when you ask yourself the why me question, you should keep in mind that whatever you do, you cannot create against your style, your vision, and your envies. You just cannot create against yourself. It's not possible. People may want to hire you for the wrong reasons, but it's their problem. You have previous work to show for. And if they come to you without having done their homework, well, too bad. That's why you should do yours though. This one's really important because when a client or producer or network come to you or call your agent, they are in a seduction mode. They will probably promise you anything to have you. And since you're in the same mode, you will say yes to anything. So you need to do a little inquiry. Ask around, search the web, listen to the rumors, good and bad, and see what keeps coming up. It will give you a complimentary answer to question number 1. A simple search on the internet is a good start. Check out your producer or client filmography. And if you see that no director or filmmaker came back twice, it's usually not a good sign. Same with any other crew members. Believe me, I wouldn't be here if I had done something as simple as that. You can also ask fellow filmmakers that have worked before with the people who want to hire you. Even if you don't know them, they will probably answer honestly. And if they don't say much because they don't want to upset anyone, they'll probably stay polite and basic, and you'll know. Because a filmmaker who has nothing to say about his producers, that's very suspicious. Now, I am not saying you should trust rumors and reputations. Half of the time they're not true or not deserved. But basically, if you cross-reference them with the feeling you have when you talk with your future clients, well, you'll be able to make your own opinion and know if you'll be able to work in a good and safe environment for the next few weeks or months, or even a year. Trust me, there is nothing worse than being on set or sitting in the edit room next to someone you can't stand and who probably thinks the same of you. What usually comes up first is the money issue, right? But I'll get back to this later. When you are sent a script, ask yourself if it's worth it. Is it worth spending a few weeks or even a year of your life on? What attracts you to it? The storyline, the location, the dialogue? There's no perfect project, even when you created it yourself from scratch. So once you are clear about why you like it, ask yourself what you can do to improve it. Also ask yourself if it corresponds to you or your style. Will you be comfortable shooting it? Or maybe you want to be uncomfortable and try a new style, a new approach. But you need to be clear about it with yourself and with your collaborators. So you'll be sure that everyone's working towards the same goal, to achieve the same thing. Because if not, that's where real trouble begins. Also wonder what the project means in a broader perspective. Career-wise. Will it help you get more jobs afterwards? Is it exactly the same as the previous one? Will you learn something? Will you use a technique that you didn't know? What will it say about you in the outside world, in your business? You have to be careful when choosing your next project because it will always determine what will happen after for you. Some projects have more constraints than others, but you need to know them before you commit to a job. You need to know how free you will be creatively. I'm not saying that you should choose the projects where you are always totally free. By the way, that does not exist. No, what I mean is that you need to know what the boundaries are. Sometimes some producers will ask you to cast their girlfriend or work with this sponsor that you think is not eco-friendly or whatever. Or some network will need for you to promote something you are against. Sometimes they'll tell you to shoot the script the way it is and not change a single word. As long as people are being honest about it, you will be able to make a totally enlightened choice. Problems come when you are promised things that will never happen. For example, on Playdate, I was asked to do an R-rated movie. That's all. It is the only thing the network asked me regarding the directing of the film. You won't have to say it twice to me. I promise you that. Thank you, OCS. I love you so much. Now, on this other job, I was asked to do the same as Trauma, but less violent, for that it would fit all audiences. I was also told that I would not be able to cast all the parts, that the network would have a big say in the casting process. Okay, as long as they stick to their choices once they're made. On the same project, I was also told I could rewrite the dialogue, which was my main condition. And the answer was yes, as long as I wouldn't touch the structure. Fine with me, but those last two didn't go as planned. At all. That is why question number 2 matters that much. If I had made my research, I would have known I was working with people who were able to knowingly lie to my face. Anyway, make sure the rules are clear and put them in writing as soon as you start working on the project. It will protect everyone and will buy you a great peace of mind. Sometimes casts can be imposed on you. That's normal. There are financing issues that are totally out of your control. You just need to be aware and ready for it. Same as if one of the financiers wants you to cast his latest girlfriend. It happens, and it's up to you to choose if it's worth it or not. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. It actually happened to me once, and it was a great surprise. The actor in question was actually pretty good, and is now a really good friend of mine. Now, when it comes to the crew, it may be slightly different. Who you work with determines your style somehow. I already talked a lot about that in the Filmmaker's Knowledge blog. Link up here or here, whatever, somewhere. Unless you are going on a project that has already been rolling for a few years, like let's say the 3rd season of a series, don't have any key crew member imposed on you, because the loyalty of the person won't be to the project or to you. And if any power struggle starts, plus if the person in question is incompetent, well, you won't be able to fire them. And that can be a real pain in the ass for you and for the rest of the crew. I once worked on a project where the producer tried to impose her ex-husband as the key grip. The guy had a pretty bad reputation, so the DP and I stood straight, and luckily we didn't fold. So when tensions began to occur with the production, the whole crew answered as one. This may seem trivial, but it is more important than you may think. I have shot in all weathers possible, and I can tell you some are much harder than others. Shooting in the desert in extremely high temperatures, sometimes reaching 52 degrees Celsius, like I did on 15 Minutes of War, is hard. But it's not that hard. It is pretty dry, and if you hydrate enough and wear the right equipment, you'll be fine. It's the same for extreme cold, like I'm doing right now. As long as it's dry, it's okay. You can easily go to minus 40 Celsius with the right equipment. Now the real problem is humidity. This is what will get to you in the heat as much as in the cold. Humidity will multiply the sensations by the 10th, whether it's heat or cold. And that's why I hate shooting in tropical areas. Although this is the kind of area I've shot the most, it is the one that will exhaust you the worst. Working in the sand or in the snow can also be hard because you need to lift your legs higher at every step. Think of these tiny details. They are more important than you may think. And sometimes some jobs need a special physical preparation. Trust me on that. Do a little weather and terrain inquiry before accepting a job. Sometimes you'll be like, yay, I'm going to work on the beach in Thailand for 6 months. Now, think about what it means. It may sound great, but it means you'll be far away from home for quite some time. And since there are no shoots that go as expected, you will probably be far from home way longer than you think. So you have to make sure that your contract specifies an ending date, because otherwise your clients may block you just in case, and you might miss other jobs that come your way. Make sure every job has an ending date. Sometimes you will have to work with people who, for many reasons, will try to have you think that they call the shots. Whether it's to justify their salary, or because they need to feel important, or because they are, power hungry. Especially in the world of TV series, producers have a tendency to hide the fact that they don't make any decisions. And usually they're too scared to go against the network. So they anticipate what they think the network will say about your ideas by just saying no. And usually they're wrong. There's always a moment where you realize that you could have done what you wanted and the network would actually not cared. That's once again why question number 2 matters that much. Just make sure that you and your producer are a real team. Now that's a big one. Can you accept a gig only for the money? Well, that's up to you. I just think that money can be a really good reason, but it can't be the only one. Making a movie or a series takes so much time and energy out of you, your crew, and everyone around you that it can't be the only reason. I can assure you, it's not worth it. I've done it twice, and I will never do it again. I have never been this unhappy on set, to the point where I wanted to give up this job that I had been dreaming of since I was 7 years old. First, the subject of the job. If you are getting involved in a project that can create controversy or is somehow provocative, make sure it is worth it. And make sure your family and loved ones agree with you and are ready to take on the fight. Because you might get attacked, you and your loved ones, especially nowadays with social media. But second, and most important of all these questions, will it take a toll on your family? It's hard to live with a creative, someone whose thoughts are always running around and who has some kind of permanent anxiety. It's hard to live with someone who is often away, shooting stuff around the world, who can go from job to job without a break. So ask your spouse or partner what they think of each project, if they'd like you to do it or not. Be extremely honest and explain why you are willing to go away for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and don't take on jobs that you don't need. You will never be as good as you can be without your loved ones. They are your peace of mind. None of what I do today would be possible without the support of my wife and children. That's why I need to say it. I love you, Gail. I love you, Victor, Noe, and Adele. You guys are my life. So I guess these questions are for you to go knowingly into a project, to know why you are where you are when the going gets rough. Because on a set, it's Murphy's Law. Everything that can go south will. Oh yeah. I should have asked myself all of these questions before ending up here. So more than ever, please give me some of that algorithmic love by liking, subscribing, and hitting that bell. And you know what? I'll see you in the next one.